Professional. This is a place to go where we grab a bevy. Hope you have yours. We ditch the BS and we get real about careers, purpose, and fulfillment. I am your very, very excited host, Beth Campbell, today. I'm a survivor of 23 years in corporate chaos. I'm now working on my own business ownership badassery. And I'm so excited today because we have a very special guest on the Thirsty Professional. And oh, this is the cream of the crop, really, seriously. I'm going to do a whole intro, but I'm going to welcome Heidi. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional. I am so, so happy to have you here. I know a lot of you who are out there listening and watching know Heidi. Maybe some of you don't. She is a lifelong entrepreneur. And I'm talking I mean, lifelong, like since she was in elementary school. She has been pursuing entrepreneurship. I'm sitting in the corner reading Stephen King books and eating candy bars, and she's running a business, right? When she's like 10 years old. Okay. She is the owner of Talk to Heidi, the founder of the Collective LinkedIn group, which I'm a founding member of. You should definitely check it out. We'll talk about that later. And she is joining me today to discuss some really cool perspectives on gratitude in social media. I know. She calls herself the social media marketing strategist and a business coach, but that is, I'm telling you, I've known her for over 5 years. That does not even begin to describe her experience since I've known her, even just. But I do happen to have my own title for Heidi, and I'm going to put it up here on screen, Heidi, because it is such a long title. But I've made up a title for Heidi. I've tweaked it a little bit, so I'm going to show you here. My official title for Heidi is Heidi Badass of the House Medina. First of her name, the Fucksayer, Queen of the Coaches, Khaleesi of the Great LinkedIn Sea, Giver of Permissions, Empress of Entrepreneurs, and Mother of the Collective. I changed that one. It was Mother of
Oh,
Chicken.
you did. You changed it.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I am just so excited that you are here. You are just, I mean, we've been friends for so long. And we have so much to talk about today. This is really a unique, I don't know that I've heard anybody talking about this particular topic. But before we begin, Heidi, what's your bevy today?
Um, Actually, it is in a mug, but it's water today.
You know what?
I was feeling a little dry.
Yeah, I've got the coffee. I zhuzh up my coffee because, in fact, I had another cup, but I had to change it because I put like hot cocoa in it and then I get my lipstick and my other cup is white and it just looks so disgusting. And I said, you know what? I have to change it for the occasion. Wonder Woman is very appropriate for
Yeah.
your
Well, this
appearance
is
here.
my new one.
Ooh,
So,
very pretty.
so guys, we live over top of a pottery shop, and I
Oh,
gotta say, it's dangerous
so sorry
because
about that.
there's always something I want. So this is my new beautiful mug for the
That
pottery
is no
shop.
fair. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in a minute with our topic. But if you were watching live, I see some of you are already coming in here. Thank you so much. Let us know you're here, where you're from, what are you drinking? Or I guess in Eileen's case, what are you eating? Oatmeal, great. If you're watching the replay, just give us a hashtag replay. And of course, if you have any questions for Heidi, put them in the comments. We'll address them later when we can during this live stream, or if we're not able to on a future episode, or maybe you can send her a DM. So, and the other thing too is, if anybody, I know we've had some audio in the issues in the past. If anybody can let me know if Heidi and I sound okay. We had a few little technical difficulties at the front, but I think we've worked through them.
We have.
So thank you all for being here. All right. Let's see, Heidi, I'm going to first go to the comments just to let you know who's here. I don't know if you can't see the comments,
I,
can you?
I can. I
You
can.
can?
Restream, we have that advantage. You
Oh,
don't
that's
over on
fascinating.
StreamYard. I
Awesome.
know.
Well, we have your wonderful husband, David, here. Stella Scott is here. Hi, Stella. Willie Nickel, you just
Hello.
had a great episode of your live yesterday with Willie. I
I
hope everybody will look
know.
that.
That was so awesome
Oh, that
with
was
Willie,
awesome.
wasn't it?
Maria Elena Pamies, who is my guest next week. Maria Elena,
Cool.
thank you for joining. And Eileen Pizzi, who is here from New Jersey. So thank you all so much for joining. All right.
Yeah, and Eileen's a member of the collective too, with Beth and I, by the way. Just
Yeah,
throwing it.
we'll definitely talk about the collective at the end. It's an amazing. Well, before we jump into our juicy topic, Heidi, is there anything that maybe I missed as far as the who is Heidi Medina spin? Is there anything that you want to add to that?
I don't know, Beth. I mean, I just keep saying, can you just go be my, what is it? What did they call the people back in the day when they had this sayer come into town and just announce you and that kind of stuff?
Oh
Can
yeah,
you just
I'm
come
just
be
like
my
your personal
personal one?
PR. Yeah.
Yeah, can you just come be my personal one? You always do such the most amazing introductions for me that it's
Oh,
like, what else is there to say?
thank you, thank you. Hey, Julie Hegedus. Hey, nice to see you,
Ooh,
Julie. I used to work with Julie at the utility. Um,
oh,
Heidi,
nice.
so one more quick thing before we dive in because it is the beginning of the year, and I know you and I've talked a lot about goals. So, what are you excited about in 2025? Do you have like big goals? I know you do. You always do.
I've got big goals. I actually got what I'm calling impossible goals this year because I set ones that were so big to eliminate options and choices. I don't know about you guys, but if I have too many choices, I don't know which way to go. So one of my goals is I set to be speak on 100 other people's stages, not just my own. 100 other people's stages. And Beth, you are my number one for
Oh, yes.
2025.
Yay. Awesome.
So if anybody is looking for a guest and we share a similar target audience, reach out. Love to come on your show because I'd love to make that impossible goal a reality.
Oh, I have no doubt. You actually inspired me. So some of my goals, I have goals around writing and best-selling author, but also you're the one who said, no, Beth, one of your goals is going to be a paid speaking gig. So that is one of my
Yes.
big goals for
Mine too.
2025.
Mine too. We're both going to do that. Willie said it was the town crier. That's
Oh,
what I
yes,
need.
yes, that's it. That's it. Exactly. Joining us also, Stephanie. Nice to see you, Stephanie, with her cup of chai. I always feel like whenever I say, like, I drink coffee with all kinds of crap in it. And I always just feel like it's not as elite or as refined as people who drink tea or chai or something like that. But I guess I should just,
I am a real chai. I'm totally addicted to chai. And when coming from Colorado, Colorado had gone through this phase of everybody had a special chai, and I had a favorite one called Sanctuary, which I can it's done with honey
mm,
and not sugar, which I cannot get in Portugal. So I've created my own recipe.
nice. I don't know that I've ever, if I'm going to even admit this publicly, but I don't even know if I've ever had chai.
Oh my god! I gotta send you the recipe. Okay.
I think you probably already did. And I probably just said, I don't, this sounds very complicated, but
Oh,
I will have
I
to try
haven't
it.
shared this one.
You, you've hit pay dirt on your recipes. I mean, my favorite bacon recipe came from a recipe that you shared with Szechuan bacon. So I'll have to try that. All right. So today we're going to talk about gratitude in social media, which I know for a lot of people, myself included, feels a little bit like an oxymoron. But Heidi, you were the one that proposed this topic. So can you tell me a little bit about, where does that passion come from? Why do you want to talk about gratitude in social media?
Well, I started this 2 years ago. Whenever I've been working on a mindset journey my whole life, but 2 years ago, I really, really dug in. And you know how it is. Back then, I was getting angry at all the cold pitches I was getting in DMs and just some of the stuff that was going on social media. And I was just like, why am I doing this? Because it was making me feel like I don't want to get online. I was hating for a bit there getting onto social media, any of the platforms. It really didn't matter at that point because I just was so sick of the bro marketing and the brags and just all
Oh
the
yeah.
fake crying and all of this crap. And then all the cold pitching. And I was just like, I was working with my mindset coach. Well, back then, Carla, but she was really pushing me to embrace gratitude in all areas of my life. And I was just like, so one day I sat down with an exercise and I was like, how can I do that in social media? And one of the big things I do is help people get visible and increase their reach. And another thing I see through working with so many business owners and stuff is the fact that how many people won't put themselves out there. And so I started realizing that everybody that was showing up with a cold pitch in DM, doesn't matter if I liked it or not, that's neither here nor there, but they were still putting themselves out there. And so I actually switched it to celebrating and just having gratitude that people were actually doing it. Because that means I get more clients because anybody wants to clean it up and not
Nothing
have to
wrong with
cold
that.
because everything I do focuses on the conversation and without having to cold pitch on social media. And so when I switched that mindset to that, I started sending everybody who sends me a cold pitch in DM, unless they're rude with it, I send back a polite no thank you. Or if it's somebody, even if I don't want their offer, but they pitched me in a way that's well enough that I'm like, okay, I'd like to continue the relationship, I still say no thank you and have a nice message with it. And I'll tell you, and I celebrate them. Each one of them, I celebrate that they put themselves out there, and it has changed my attitude so much in 2 years about my DM. My DMs are a joy. I don't care if they cold pitch. I don't care if they're in my email. I don't care, and it's just really helped how I show up in all of social media because I've applied that to other areas as well.
I
I know
totally, yeah. I mean, so you've opened my eyes, and we're going to talk about quite a few things, but I love the idea because I talk a lot about gratitude, and I really believe that gratitude is a panacea for so many negative feelings, emotions, situations that come up in our lives. And I love that it's not just about the immediate, I'm grateful for this particular, DM or comment or whatever. It's really about bringing that sense of gratitude into everything that we do. And it does make it easier because, as we've talked about many, many times, how we cannot control the world. We cannot control what comes into our DMs mostly, and we cannot control how people act towards us. We cannot control to the most extent our emotions, but we can control how we respond. And this is just another way to better respond. So I think it's awesome. I think you nailed something too that I think, before we even really dive into, um, this the particulars of some of these nuances of gratitude and social media is understanding why so many people maybe aren't. And that is that negativity. I think people are very disillusioned with a lot of aspects of social media. I mean, would you agree there that there's just, first of all, there is negativity. We can't deny that, right? And
you can't, but here's the thing, and this is one thing that I really work with people on is whatever you're exposed to on social media. Now, I'm not saying that some of it doesn't slip through, but most of my social media experience is really good. And it's because I work really hard. I worked on my own mindset, and I've said, these are things I'm not going to allow in my life.
yeah,
And that includes on social media. And if I see it, I get rid of it. I either unfollow it or block it, whatever it takes to get rid of it. And because of that, and then I'm very careful about who I connect with, who I engage with, and all that, because at the same time, the algorithms, as much as everybody hates me, learn gratitude on the algorithms. I'm going to tell you guys
we're
why
going to talk
here.
about that. We're going to talk about the
Yeah, we're going
algorithm.
to talk about that. But the algorithms are your visibility gatekeeper. So whatever you're engaging with, whoever you're talking to, whatever the majority of your stuff, that's why you're exposed to things you don't want to see more and more.
Oh,
So
so true.
my feed, for the most part, is a joy. I know people bitch about Facebook, but I'm just like, it's not my favorite platform to be on. I love LinkedIn. Everybody knows that. And Instagram's number two for me. But even my Facebook feed is still a joy to get on. I mean, once I scroll through, of course, the ads and get to my actual people.
The
But
family drama, all that.
even that, I'm still grateful that I have that opportunity. And I know we're going to talk about
Yeah.
this more, so I'm not going to dive into it.
Yeah, I find it probably a little easier to find the gratitude on Facebook because the comments tend to be not as really trolly and negative as in like Instagram or TikTok, and it's more casual. But because we're on LinkedIn and also streaming on YouTube, but I think LinkedIn is one of the places where it's been hardest for me. So I'm really excited to kind of jump into some stuff. I just want to take a quick moment here to welcome another person out here, Mike Goggin, my very good friend, former boss, one of my favorite people in the whole world. So, so many of my favorite people showing up here today, and yours too as well. Okay, we touched a little bit on. I really do want to start with DMs. So, for anybody who doesn't know, DM direct message, it's your private messages, and in particular, we're probably referring more to LinkedIn here because that's where we tend to see some of this stuff. But that's one of the areas where, number one, I have had the least gratitude, but where you have also probably opened my eyes the most about DMs. So let's start with some of the DMs that why do DMs, what are some of the DMs that people don't like, right? I know for me, yes, a straight cold pitch. Um, there's always going to be inappropriate stuff that maybe deserves a more salty response. But what are some of your favorite types of DMs that maybe you have to try a little harder to be grateful for?
Honestly, since I switched my mindset on this and I've really worked hard on it, like I used to get the sexual
Mhm.
invite, come date me, marry me, whatever. Even I've even
Hello,
gotten
dear.
dick pics through LinkedIn.
Hi, honey.
I've you name it, I've pretty much experienced it. Back in the day, when I don't I think it's the energy, the vibe I put out when I said I'm not going to do this anymore, and I have literally stuck by that. I quit getting a lot of the shit in my DMs, to be honest with
That's
you. I
really
get cold
interesting.
pitches.
Well,
I get, yeah.
energy out, and I talk about we talk about this a lot with manifestation and just vibration. I never even occurred to me until you said that that's because I think mine is cleaned up as well, but you're putting the energy out, you're getting back what you put out. So ergo, another great reason.
I think so because I mean I've literally been doing this for 2 years and my DMs have changed so much. I mean, yes, I get the cold pitches. I'm not saying I don't. I get a ton of them. I get anywhere from 10 to sometimes 30 a day, depending.
What? Are you
Yeah, the
kidding me?
more visible I get, the more of them I get, and I think that's just normal for
Wow.
everybody that happens. So, but I also noticed that since I started this practice, I'm not angry about it anymore, but the quality of the DMs, a lot of them have improved that I get.
Yeah.
So I don't get as many anymore with dear sir or dear name where somebody forgot to change
Dear
up the
dear name that's not mine. Right? Which we've gotten.
or yes, not too often. And I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to your attitude about things. Because if you're sitting there looking for negativity, it was one thing you said a minute ago, and I wrote it down so I would come back to it. Is when whatever you're focused on, whether it's negative or positive, that's what you see. So if I'm focused on gratitude, I am seeing more abundance. I am seeing more people winning. I am seeing more good stuff. And even those cold DMs, I don't care because my attitude is good.
Yeah.
And I found that's what's been really, really important and what has changed all of social media for me.
It's so important, especially because we are biologically, evolutionarily, we are wired to be negative. That's it, it was great, 100,000 years ago when we were fighting off the saber-toothed tiger. But so let's, if you don't mind, can we kind of walk through a typical, because I'm going to tell you what I would get and how I would respond. And you can give some tips on a better way. So the classic, of course, like we said, there are going to always be direct messages that are inappropriate, and I don't think you should feel ashamed about blocking, reporting, or whatever. But the ones that you get and these would incense me in the past where, oh my God, why are they trying to cold pitch me? They don't even know me. They don't know anything about me. And there's nothing in there that's, egregious. And I would either send a kind of aggressive, maybe response to that, or I would just completely ignore it. Tell me something I can do differently. What can people do differently when they get those sort of benign but irritating things?
Look at it and see if maybe it triggered you. If it triggered you, then something's going on
Damn it,
with you.
Heidi.
And of course, Eileen mentioned one here that does kind of get me. I'm always like, you send me the single hello and the hi, and
Yeah,
not answering your question, Beth, but you send me that, and I'm just like, hi, what do you want?
mhm.
Does that really work for you? But yeah, I mean, I take an approach of don't get me wrong, I've got days I'm in a pissy mood, and when that
Oh, I know.
happens, I
I
can
know.
get triggered as well by DMs. But most of the time, I'm pretty good. I've hit a point where I just don't let them bother me. I'm not letting other people's shit bother me, and And I think it comes down to that attitude of where do you want to put your energy? And that for me, and where do you want to put your focus? For me, my focus is on the people that I want to be talking there. So I'm not going to put a ton of energy in those DMs. I'm just going to move on. If I respond to it, I get it done, a few words, and I've moved on. And I've gone on and talked to people I want to be talking to. If I don't have anybody in my inbox at that moment with a conversation going on, that I go talk to somebody new. And I think that's how we balance it, is by, if you got a lot of stuff in your inbox you don't want, don't like, don't people, go start the conversation so you have the conversations in your inbox you want to be seeing.
Yeah.
And that's
I,
going to change things.
I love that. I mean, one of the tips that you gave me, because again, we could talk for an entire hour on just DMs and how to respond to different ones, right? But the classic cold pitch that for no reason would just irritate me, and I would get so mad, and I would, why are you? And it's, I think you're right. It triggered me. It's making me have to make a decision. So
Mm-hmm.
now taking a new approach, my decision is just, if there's nothing inappropriate in there, I just say thank you. I'm not interested at this time. Sometimes if it's something I might be interested, I say I'll keep you in mind, and
Yeah.
then go from there. And then then there's a whole a lineage of steps of what could happen after that. Most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, people just thank me, or I just don't hear from them again, which is
Yes.
win-win. But that is one way of something that irritated me. And I know you do things like that. You're the one who suggested, just thank them, but just say I'm not interested, and it actually works out fine, and I don't get all riled up and start throwing things. And
3 words. No, yeah, no, thank you. That is literally the response to almost all of the cold pitches I receive. 3 words. Takes you less than a second.
love it. Well, I want to go to our next topic because it's so exciting to me. Another controversial thing, but I will say, if you all are not following Heidi, please do, and go out and find. Well, maybe we'll see if we can find a link. But Heidi did a series of videos on DMs. It was like DMs in real life, and they were so spot on. Especially the one where sometimes you'll get somebody who will say, "Hi," they want to get to know you, and they start, "Where are you from? What do you do? Did you know that I sell this marketing tool?" And it was just,
I had so much fun with those. We'll get you the link for those for YouTube and drop them in later.
oh, they're so good. Okay, so another controversial area, because I think a lot of reason why people don't have gratitude for a lot of social media is because there is controversy or negative. A lot of it's internal. I admit that. But one area that it comes up a lot lately is AI comments in posts. So
Yes.
let's talk about that. My feelings. I don't really mind them, although I do. I'll tell you later about my little passive aggressive thing. But why do you think that they annoy people so much when
Everybody
people
knows
use
it's
AI?
fake. Everybody knows it's fake. We're here. If we're in the comments, we're there because we want to actually talk to a human being. It's the same in the DMs too, because there's also bots ending up in the DMs as well. But you're on here. I mean, everybody in our circle is trying to build relationships. Now, I know there's, bro marketing and things like that where people are trying to shortcut it and use AI, and that's why we're seeing it. But this is people who feel like they're too busy. They don't have the time and effort to actually have the conversation with you to build the relationship. So they're starting to shortcut it using AI in hopes that it gets them to the sell faster. We can tell, guys. We can tell.
Well, so why should I be grateful for that? What is there to be grateful about someone comes into my post and puts a very obvious, and believe me, folks, if you're using AI for comments, they're very obvious. So why should I feel grateful? What's there to be grateful about for that?
Because it boosts your reach and visibility.
Boom. Thank
That's
you.
simple. Be thankful for the comment. It doesn't matter where it came from. Remember, LinkedIn has integrated AI into the comment section, which
Yes.
means part of the comments you get are directly from LinkedIn itself's AI. So be grateful for that because it boosts your reach and visibility. Now, do I reply to them the exact same as I would when I know it's a human being? No,
No.
I don't. But what I do, and there's a siren going by, so if you guys hear, I'm
Every
sorry.
time, Heidi, you live in
I
Siren
know.
Central.
They keep missing me is what it is. um, but seriously, so what I do and to reply back to those is I know it's AI, but I do know a human being is called triggered that AI to happen. So I'll go ahead and still comment, but I do comment in a tad more passive aggressive way. But I tend to ask a question that can potentially draw out the human being
The
that the
human,
bot
yeah.
can reply to.
Yeah.
And then maybe I get the conversation going, and that happens probably only 25 or 30% of the time, but still that's 25 or 30% of the time, instead
Yeah.
of doing what most people do, which is go ahead and immediately block the person. And they get pissy about it. Don't get pissy. It boosted your reach and visibility.
You.
Say, yes, thank you, and then move on.
I'm going to try that. Yes, thank you before I do my passive aggressive response. No, actually, I don't mind. I've seen people put posts, screenshots of posts where they get literally like 20 comments exactly the same because somebody went to the same AI platform and got the same exact comment. That, that's just
That's
common
different.
sense. But I actually don't mind if somebody puts out a comment. And usually the reason I can tell is because I think a lot of people, first of all, use AI because they're not proficient in the language, which generally is English if they're
Sometimes.
commenting. So I have to ask myself, in my writing and in my speaking, I'll go out and look in a thesaurus or a dictionary, or what's a better way to use this word, or am I using this word correctly, because I don't always know. So I give people a little bit of grace then, because I think that they're just uncomfortable they want to have a good response and they don't think that they can do it. I would always prefer a
Yeah.
human, but like you said, a comment is a comment. It helps your visibility. And so,
But think about this. I am going to call out on the people using the AI to make comments. It's okay. It's okay if you don't know exactly how to answer that question and you use AI to help you formulate it so you can answer it in a way that you feel like is going to make you show up as your best. I know someone in my very close circle right now that is using AI for their comments because
oh,
they're testing it. Well, they're actually creating valuable comments, but
yeah.
it's pretty obvious it's coming from AI. I've seen it 3 times this week alone. No names, not shaming and naming here, but it's just I use AI to help create my content, not my comments, but I use it to help create my content. And if I was going to use it for my comments, I would apply the same thing: is do your own words, use it just to smooth things out,
Yeah.
and so that you're showing up your best. Or if you used AI to help create the answer for the comment, then go back in and edit it and make sure it's in your own words, because then it comes off as you. And like I said, this person's actually doing valuable comments, but it is so obvious it's AI.
Yeah.
And it's coming straight from the AI. They didn't bother to do the editing after to make it them and their voice. And so, and then there's the people you mentioned, the ones that you get the 25, 30, those get blocked. Guys, you
Yeah.
don't have to
That's
put
just
up with the
lazy.
bullshit. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about we're not talking about the mass people that
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're spammed with it. You block those people. You don't
Yeah,
have to deal
that
with
just tells me that I have not even looked. I just threw it. I just
that.
dumped it into AI, let it spit out something, and just copied and pasted. I didn't even probably read it. I
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
assumed. Um, I mean, so my little secret is my little passive aggressive, and I probably will stop doing this because I don't know that it really serves anything, and it really isn't a good energy for me. But when I started getting occasional, very obvious AI comments, I would just respond, tag the person, and then I would say, well said, but I would make the AI in said uppercase. And that was my little private secret, well, say AAI'd. But here's the thing, I have been very vocal about some things as a writer, things AI, but ain't going anywhere. It is not going anywhere. It is only going to
It's
just
not.
continue to get bigger, and we have to find ways to maneuver that dance of being
Because
authentic.
if
But
you aren't learning how to use it as a tool and at least learning the basics of it, you will get left behind. And I
yeah,
know there's people that says that's crazy and they're like, I don't need it. But the truth is AI does help you in your business. It helps you get things out quicker. And in this society where everybody else is using them and you're not, then you will get left
you
behind.
will get
So
left behind.
embrace it, have gratitude for it, because I do. Once again, gratitude comes into play for me because here is a tool that can take my work. Like I just got finished doing all the descriptions. I have created this badass prompt that I take the guest details from my show and I use the AI prompts that I've created and then my rough draft notes and created all the descriptions all the way up for the next six guests in like a couple of hours. It took me a couple of hours because I was still fine tuning things. Now the next time around, that's going to be faster. But it's finished now. They're done up through
Yeah.
that. So without AI, I would have to get an adequate guest description the way I like to do for my shows. It normally takes me about 45 minutes.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I tend to, as you know, I tend to go down a very, very deep rabbit hole with things like titles. So
Oh
even
yeah.
coming up for a name with this show, some people on this call or who are listening know that I reached out and said, "What do you think of this?" I mean, my sister must have gotten so many texts from me because I wanted it to be just perfect. And honestly, in that case, AI has really helped me to be less of a perfectionist because I just was like, I'm spending hours, literal hour upon hour, trying to find the perfect tagline or phrase. I'm so close. I just go, okay, look, run it through AI and get some suggestions, and you'll be so it's almost like it's an inspiration for me versus I don't write much. Maybe minor things I will have it help me, but I certainly don't write any of my major stuff, articles or certainly books. But it does inspire me sometimes if I tell it to give me a little bit more of a sassy or an edgy
Yeah.
word or phrase, and boom, I'll get some stuff, and maybe they're not perfect, but I'm like, oh wait, I didn't even think of that. So
Yep. It's really good for that. It's great for research too. Perplexity is my favorite, and Perplexity is the king of research AIs too. But a lot of people think it's only for research, but for writing, it for me, which I have it set to use the latest Claude, but it actually comes the closest to mimicking my voice out of all of the ones I've used.
it is so amazing that I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning, and she was telling me, Corey Joe, if you're out there, she was just telling me about a company that she had been talking to somebody to, and they had a specific to construction kind of construction operations in corporate AI platform. So they're getting very, very specific.
Yep.
Willie says if you're struggling with what to say, use AI as a tool to get you started and then
Ooh,
personalize what comes up so that people know it's you. I could not have
exactly, Willie.
crystallized my thoughts any better than that.
Exactly. And then just again, I mean, but just come back to gratitude on those AI comments
Yeah,
because that boosted your reach and visibility. That's another comment,
that's
guys.
right.
So bring it right back. Bring the gratitude in for the tools. Let's quit fussing and cussing about AI, like because I see a ton of it online, and just start realizing where can you use it to help you in your business. You don't have to have it write your stuff. I mean, I have everything written and then I use it to help me finalize everything. I
Yeah.
know that way it's my words, my stories, my experience.
Yeah, and the more you're grateful for, I do believe this, that the more you're going to get to be grateful for. So it's just another
Mhm.
thing. Okay, so we talked about earlier, we alluded to what I call the stock market of the social media world, which is the algorithms. And I say that because, like the stock market, you really, this is one area where I have a lot of gratitude, and you have really, helped me to understand just, that I got to chill when the algorithm gets changed, and just like the stock market, I got to wait for it to recover. But let's talk about the algorithm because this is another area where people just get so incensed. Like, what? You'll hear it as soon as if LinkedIn makes a major change, some glitch, or Facebook or whatever, you'll see it all plastered everywhere. So let's talk a little bit about why we should be grateful for things like or maybe just not grateful for them, not be so creeped out and incensed about the algorithm.
But can we talk about combine this with the social media platforms themselves and the algorithms since they're
Sure. Yeah,
together? All
absolutely.
right, cool. Yeah, because I'm very grateful for both. And the reason why this is all borrowed playground, guys. You can cuss, fuss, and I've been there. I'm guilty of this. This is something else I've worked on. This is part of the gratitude on social media in general I've worked on in the last 2 years. I used to be, man, I would get my shit going so well on LinkedIn, and then the algorithm would change and everything. You're literally starting over. And
It's
Beth knows
maddening.
I've had my rants. If you've been following me on LinkedIn or Facebook, you know about I've had my rants. But when I started this gratitude practice of things for both, is that it doesn't matter. This is places I get to show up and use for free. I would not have these opportunities. I mean, Beth, you and I were talking about this. We met through LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're one of my best friends now. I mean, people are now like, oh, yeah, Beth and Heidi. I mean, you're together.
Right.
And we've had Antonia. I mean, she's thrilled that she found us. We're still together. But we would not have been together. We might not have never met if it hadn't have been for social media, if it hadn't been for the algorithms somewhere connecting us. And the thing is algorithm is nothing. It's not against you guys. I want to make this very clear because so many people think the algorithms are against you. They're not.
It's not out to get me.
They're not out to get you. If something's not working well with the algorithms, yeah, it probably did just change, or you have not trained it well. I'm sorry. You got
What,
to take
Heidi?
responsibility for your own results with the algorithms.
Did you
You
just say
have.
that out loud? Oh, we're going
I
to talk about
did.
that. Yeah, we'll
I
talk about
did.
that.
Let's see this get hot in here. Who there thinks that you are not responsible for what the
I
algorithms show
feel personally
you?
attacked, but I know that's because it is true.
Put in the comments if you think that it's actually the platform host. Yes, they do have some control.
We just
Some.
want to think. We want to believe, right? Because we don't want to. But you're so right, Heidi. You've drilled into me for 5 years things like just basic concepts that and it's okay, people. It is okay if you don't do this, and if you stray or you get caught up or you need to step away. But she is so right that when you're consistent and you follow just some general basic great advice, which Heidi's been giving for eons, it's not as bad. It's really not as bad. And honestly, sometimes when you're sometimes it's not even an algorithm thing. It's just um
Yeah.
or it
Because
is, and it just fixes itself.
yeah, I mean, like we can't control like Facebook right now has like two ads, and then you get one from your user and one from a group, and then two ads. We can't control that part. That's the platform owner's part. But goes back to gratitude. You have this place to play. And so remember that even though you might not like it, they do have to pay for all this effort they put into building these platforms that you get to use for free and all of that kind of stuff. So still have the gratitude for it. And if you absolutely hate it, like with Twitter, I deleted my account. You have that option. So once again, you have control. But when it comes to the algorithms, they're a simple code and they're just set up to do and deliver you the best possible performance, the best possible experience. So you stay on the platform as long as possible.
Right.
So they can show you more ads.
Yeah.
So really though, if you don't enjoy your feed, if you don't enjoy who you're seeing, the types of content you're seeing, it's because you engaged with those people. You engaged with those type of comments. I
Yeah.
always make the joke, if you don't like cat videos, stop engaging with cat videos. I don't
Oh,
mind
so
cat videos.
yeah, so now you're really singing my song. So I want to jump to that in just a second, but a couple of comments here. So back on AI, Stella says an article that previously took 3 days takes 3 hours, saves so much time.
Yeah.
That's me with titles. I would spend 2 weeks trying. I'm not even joking. I'm so embarrassed to even say that. It's just so true.
I'm anal on titles.
Heidi knows this because whenever she's doing something new, she'll like, "Hey, here's some thoughts. What are some other things that you might think?" And then like 3 days later, I'm like, "Okay, now I'm ready to share." And she's like,
She
"Well,
sends
I've
me
already
three
figured it out
pages of
now."
titles.
But
I love it. I love
Stella
it.
says you have to train it to make it useful. This is true. We're going to talk about training in just a second because one final good topic that I really, really am excited to that Heidi has shed some light on. Anyway, Megan Maloney, I like to talk to text my posts into AI so it types and formats my first draft. Great tip
Yes,
there.
me too.
Stella, I have control. Don't like the stuff or comment. If don't like the stuff or comment if it's not up your alley. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Mhm.
David Medina, they always want you to leave. Or sorry, they
They
never want you to
never
leave.
want you to
They never
leave.
want you to leave. That is true. That is what they're, folks under just an understanding of that is what the algorithms are trying to do. They're trying to keep you there.
They want to show you more ads, so maybe you buy something.
And
If
then
nothing else, they're selling your data to the companies who paid for the ads.
right. Maria Elena says, I'm so grateful for social media. These platforms give me the opportunity to share my message with the whole world. I will at
Amen.
the end have some other comments from some folks on this call too that are very much in tune with what Maria Elena says. Okay. So we kind of started getting into it, Heidi, a little bit about the training the algorithm. The news feed is another area where that just we recently had a conversation about this. Well, when I joined as a founding member of the collective, this group that Heidi is the owner and founder of, that was one of the first things that we talked about as a group was how do we because it was right before Christmas and a lot of people were just disillusioned with it's the same old in my news feed and I tend to be like the more funny creative different unique stuff and it was just a lot of salesy and Heidi's like you can
Clear.
fix that. So talk to us about being how we can set ourselves up to be more grateful for our news feed by training
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, if you're not enjoying your news feed, you have control, guys. Once again, you have control. You change it by tailoring your feed, and you do that by unfollowing. Maybe the type of content. LinkedIn gives you that power. Facebook is now
Yeah.
too. If you don't like a certain type of content, you can say, I don't want to see this topic
Yes.
anymore, or this type of person anymore, or last I checked, unless things have changed, this type of business anymore, too, as an option all across the board on certain ones, depending. But and the other thing is, and if you have to, sometimes you have to block people. Now I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, I don't want to block anybody because it feels so bad." This is your time on social media. If it
Oh my God.
sucks, it's your
Especially if you're anything I've done this a lot, and I have just
right.
disconnected with people because I get triggered because their content is controversial, and I wanna have an energy, and it is one of my ways of cleansing my world so that that
Yes.
energy does not so
Yeah, just you can, like I said, you can unfollow. You can also you have the options. I don't want to see any more of this type of content, and you can block. And the block option is necessary at times. I
yeah.
consider it depending on the platform. Certain platforms I only use for personal, so whatever interferes with my personal enjoyment, then I'll take out the rest. And then, but on LinkedIn because I use it for business. If it doesn't pertain to achieving my goals in my business, it's a business decision. It
Yeah.
goes. It's my time. I only have a limited amount of it. And I have other things I'd rather be doing, like maybe having a 3 hour lunch with Beth one day here soon, or
Yeah.
something like that, and have the time that I can do that without guilt, without worry that I should be working on my business instead. So I'm not wasting my fucking time on social media. And there, angel get in the way. Sorry, that's the only one.
That's right. Every time Heidi flips the bird or uses a swear word, ding, 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 where's my bell? An angel got its wings.
But guys, seriously, you tailor your feed. This is now when you tailor your feed, it doesn't happen necessarily instantly. It usually takes 4 to 6 weeks to get it fully. But if you keep doing the practice, then it just never gets out of whack after that.
Yeah.
Occasionally, right when they've changed the algorithm, it might be out of whack for a week, but then it goes right back.
It does take a little work. I mean, you can't just go, "Okay, I'm scrolling, 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 and doing nothing," and it's gonna immediately I mean, it will. It does take into consideration what you're watching too, but, if you're not ever going in and just saying, "I don't want this topic," or I have unfollowed people temporarily or permanently just because, I don't wanna we're not on the outs, and I don't really wanna block them, but I just don't like their content, and especially on, like, a Facebook, but on LinkedIn, if you're not serving if we're not serving each other somehow, then why, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, and then the other side, how you get in more of what you want to see is by connecting with and engaging with the types of people and content you want to see. So if you really want to pump it up and get more of it in your feed faster, engage with more of those people and more of that type of content. And the more of it you engage with, the more often, the faster you'll switch your feed over to what you actually want to see.
turn your news feed from 0 to hero through the
Right.
tips of Heidi Medina. It really does work because I'm not as diligent as you. I'm sure yours is probably really good, but it has improved so much because I just don't I've just now that just that one little tip, like, Beth, you don't have to see this this content. There's a little ellipses that you can click, and it's very easy. So it's
For
like
everybody who doesn't know where to find what Beth just mentioned, it's the little three button menu. It's on the right side of the post. It gives you the option either to unfollow the person or unfollow the type of content. Use it. Use it indiscriminately. Make your feed what you want to see. And then it's a joy. And you'll be so thankful and happy to show up. And I do. I find showing up on social media for me, and guys, I want to make this clear because I see so many people say this. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go talk to people out in the real world." Social media is part of your real world. Beth
true.
and I have a real relationship. I have real clients who pay me and put real money in my bank account that I spend. It's part of the real world. So I'd like you guys to switch
Yes.
your mindset on that. Yeah,
Shout it,
yeah.
Heidi.
Eileen unrings bells. Yes, unring bells or ring bells, depending on which way you want to go.
I love that, Heidi, because so I'm going to read a few comments. Actually, a lot of people have this kind of same sentiment, but I was just looking at some of the folks that I'm seeing coming in here live, some of whom I know and met real time, some of whom, like yourself, Stella, David, Maria Elena, Stephanie, all these people that I've never met in person. And yet I still feel very much connected in the same way that I do. I think that connection is one of the, I was actually, I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I was pleased when we did some promos for this episode. A lot of people did weigh in on social media, and it was mostly positive. So Eileen says, I'm grateful for it, social media, because it keeps me in touch with relatives. I meet a lot of wonderful people through networking and DMs. I receive the best advice on marketing, proofreading, copywriting, and there are some entertaining stories on here, which is very, very true. Stella says, I'm absolutely grateful for social media. How could I not be? It's how I met you, Beth Ann Campbell. Thank you, Stella. Same. And
Aw.
there are other things too, just to mention it here, the combination of social media, real time interactions online, making it possible to get to know people in real time from all over the world. Imagine
Yeah.
that. That is like such a great point that I would
Right.
never be talking to you, 20 years ago before we didn't have this easy connection.
Right.
Rivage says, I used to get annoyed too, but have been trying to be more mindful, remembering that everybody's just making a living. And sometimes those DMs are the bread and butter. Just politely decline and sometimes even send a quick note.
Yeah.
And then Stephanie says, isn't it amazing how gratitude can create big ripples in how we feel and show up and respond to others? I love this too, because just like we were talking earlier, it's not just about, I know sometimes it is hard for me sometimes when I'm irritated or triggered or whatever, but bringing that gratitude in every place that we possibly can just increases I love the ripple effect.
The
So
ripple effect, the abundance you see, the feel good you do. Sometimes, we all go through moments where we're not feeling so good, and you log on to social media, and most of the things you're not seeing is like it doesn't make you feel any better. Just pick out one person. That it doesn't have to be a new person. It can. Sometimes I just look for people like Beth or
mm,
Eileen or David or Rivage or whatever, whoever's posted in my network, I'll go actually look them up and just focus on that and be so grateful I've made those contacts because honestly, I have friends around the world now,
I know it's amazing.
and this is how we stay in contact.
Yeah,
You know,
it is. This is really. I mean, for the youngins out there, you probably don't understand how powerful this is. But if I think, back 20, 30 years, I mean, when I was a kid, you had to write a letter to somebody, like an actual physical letter to somebody and send it airmail. And then maybe 3 weeks later, you got something back. And even when phones became, cell phones, it was there, you just didn't have the communication worldwide. So social media is really, really
or
open.
with my parents we had the dial phones, of course, and they would be like, you would want to call your friend, and then you get on there, and then 5 minutes later they're yelling at you to get off the
Yeah.
phone.
We had a
And now
two
you
party,
don't have to
Heidi.
do that. Now you just send a DM, a text, whatever,
Oh
and
my
yeah, you
God.
wait for
Thank
the reply
God.
back, but you wait for the reply back, but you're so connected, and I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for that because I love connections, I love relationships, and I love getting to know people. And social media has allowed me to get to know literally thousands of people that I
It's
never
amazing.
probably would have come in contact with.
and
And
who you get to bring. I mean, we get to meet these people and know them and then bring them to the world, and I'm so excited. We're gonna be wrapping up here in a minute, so we've got a little delay as usual, so if anybody has any final thoughts or words, who wants to weigh in on the conversation. I do have a couple of comments here. This is from LinkedIn user. So, LinkedIn user, thanks for joining. Connection is built from the conversations we have, and if you let it, social media. Oops, sorry. Social media can get you the kind you can't find elsewhere. You don't have to be physically close to someone to have a connection or even meet them in person. True, although hopefully that won't be the case with us, Heidi. Doris
yes.
Walsh, one of my
Yeah,
favorite new
Doris.
connections. AI, it isn't personal. Thank you. Take deeper relationships off the platform. Yeah, AI is not personal, and everybody's got their different opinions. So, LinkedIn user also says we're so cute together,
We
Heidi.
are. I'm going to take that. We are.
Maria Elena says from zero to hero with Heidi. Love that. Yes,
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, that's good too. Yeah.
Any final words, Heidi, on social media gratitude or elsewhere or anything else that you'd like to? We'll get your. I want to make sure we get to your promos first, but I wanted to see if you had any other final words on the gratitude topic.
Just really, guys, take responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions around where social media is. It's you are in control, and I just kind of keep reinforcing that you are in control. If it's making you feel like shit, do something about it.
Oh, that's to be. You know what? Something that's making you feel like shit. Do something about it. I'm putting that on a T-shirt. That's right next to "Buy My Chicken," Heidi.
I mean, seriously, you don't have to stay in agony and pain when it comes to social media. And I mean, if you don't know exactly how to do it, rewatch this episode. We drop so
Yeah.
many tips, or send me a DM.
Yeah,
I
this
would
is
drop
definitely a
some more
rewatcher.
tips.
This is going to get some replays. LinkedIn user has identified herself as Antonia
Ah,
Beck. And
Titonia.
Tony, so glad to see you here and see you back. I feel like you're like a sign of a great 2025. And then
Thanks.
Eileen says, I love the advice about DMs and AI. Thank you, Eileen. Great. And thank you for the feedback in there. So, Heidi, before we wrap
Yes.
up, what do you want our listeners to know about you? What do you've got coming up? Talk about some of the things that you're doing that people might want to be interested in, like the collective.
Yes, the collective. In the collective, we do everything deeper and deeper of what we've been talking about today on getting you reach, visibility, getting those conversations going on social media. And it's about bringing it together because in 2025, if you aren't collaborating, then you are really keeping your reach and visibility from what is possible and just to making really amazing relationships and opportunities with more people. And that's what we're actually teaching people: networking, collaboration, how to use it, how to get your reach visibility boosted, all so you can turn more of your connections into what I like to call profitable opportunities. It's not just about clients, it's about getting on speaking
Yeah.
engagement somewhere,
Yeah.
just having a cool accountability partner, another friend. I mean, we can all use more cool friends, right?
Heck yeah.
And so it's not just about just clients, although that is one of the big things we do focus on. But come join us because it is such a supportive community and we're just growing it. It's a new thing that we just started last year. And yeah, you got Beth in there, Stephanie's in there, Eileen's in there, just as a few that's here with us of our collective members.
Yeah, it's so much benefit and easy peasy. So definitely check it out. What else? What else you got? Anything else you got going on? Any
Well, I
promos?
was
Any?
going to say in the collective, but you do have the option if you want just the workshop. We've got a 2 hour workshop coming up on I think was the 27th, I think. I should have had my date on that. Oh, yeah. On Monday, the 27th of this month, we got a 2 hour workshop. You will leave with the things done where we are going to be updating your ideal client and niche definition. If you haven't done that, I have got kick-ass AI prompts, custom ones that I
Hmm.
have created that creates this amazing document. It looks like the AI and niche definition documents I used to use when I was working with corporate when I was writing for them. And I mean, this
Nice.
thing details out your ideal client and your niche, so you know exactly who you're talking to and how to connect with them. And we're also going to be creating your hot leads list, so you can actually get out there right now, right after that workshop, and start connecting with, you know, who your hot leads are. You get out there and start going ahead and getting money in the bank. And we're even going to be doing your 90-day promotion calendar, so you know what you're promoting
Ooh,
the next
my
90 days.
favorites.
I know. And you'll leave with all that finished, guys. This isn't one of those where you show up, I talk and teach and blah, 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 and then you got to go home and do it. No, we're going to leave with that
I
done.
have been in, I can't even count how many of your workshops and master classes and programs. And I will say the 90-day calendar is one of my favorites because it's
Love
so eye-opening when you go, was it really this easy that I have, every day I wake up and I go, what am I going to post today? And then I'm like, oh, guess
it.
what? It's right over here. I already know. So
Well, most people, as you know, I mean, and we're getting to wrap up. Most people start with planning out their content first, but
yeah,
not me. We do it the opposite direction, and then it makes so much more sense. It makes content creation so easy,
yeah.
which of course is the 90-day promotion calendar that Beth's talking about.
Oh,
That
it's a great one.
we're going to be using that one. So,
Awesome. Heidi, thank you so much for being my first guest. There was a reason I specifically chose you because you're a pro and you do this. Heidi has a live series as well, talking into profits. Check that out as well. You've been such a good friend and an amazing support over the years. You are welcome back anytime. So thank you so much.
oh, thank you for having me. You know, I'll come back anytime. Same on my show, which Beth's going to be on my
The
show coming up
30th.
January 30th.
Oh, we're
Talking
going to
to you
talk about
next Friday.
testimonials and how to do good testimonials because that's a sticky point for a lot
Beth
of people.
is
That's
a
gonna be good.
pro. I've never
Thank
seen
you.
anybody do better testimonials than Beth.
Thanks. Thanks, Heidi. All right, folks. Next week, January 17th, my very special guest will be Maria Elena Pamies. Maria Elena is a confidence coach for crossdressers. Yes, you heard me right. She calls herself the crossdresser's fairy godmother, and she has been on an incredible journey, self-development, self-discovery, energy healing, and life coaching. So I am really, really excited for this very unique, and we're going to get a little spiritual in this one with Maria Elena. Hope you will join us then. If you're watching on LinkedIn, please make sure you're connected with Heidi and myself, if not already. And if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Any further questions, leave them in the comments or excuse me, I just swallowed an air bubble. Leave them in the comments or send me or Heidi a DM if you would like, if you're able. And then congratulate yourself for getting real about your career, your purpose, and your fulfillment. Heidi, Miss Hattie Arbuckle, and I now bid you fond farewell. Take it easy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank